Hey guys, it's Sammy and I'm back for episode 3. I hope you guys really enjoyed episode 2 and are ready for today. So, today's topic is about how big of a problem human trafficking really is. I know we briefly talked about this in the first episode, but I really feel like we can go a little bit more in depth into this topic, and I actually have some good statistics to give you guys today. So yeah, I'm pretty excited. We can do a bit of a recap. So again, first episode we talked about the misconceptions of human trafficking and what to look for and what people think actually involves human trafficking but doesn't. And then the second episode we talked a lot about how technology plays a factor in human trafficking and how the traffickers are able to get to their victims through technology or social media. And we also talked a lot about L cubed in the second episode, which, if we all remember, is listen, learn, look out. I think that's something that you guys can take away, not only just from this podcast, but if you're in school or even work or anything really in life. I think that's a good lesson, is to listen, learn, and look out. You're listening to what is happening. You're really letting it kind of digest, and then you're learning it, and you're really letting it sit into your body, and you're letting your mind think about it and your heart, and then you're looking for ways you can apply this to your life and how you can help your life, make your life better, and ways you can add it to your everyday. So yeah, I think that's a good recap over my first 2 episodes. I hope you guys enjoy this episode as much as you enjoyed the first 2. And as always, I hope you still continue on this journey with me through all of my episodes. And again, thank you guys so much for all of the support you guys are giving me on these podcasts. I love making them, and I hope you guys love listening to them. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started. So today, again, we're going to be talking more about how big of a problem human trafficking actually is. And so I thought the best way to kind of break this down is to start off with how it's a global problem, and then we'll kind of break it down again into how it's is in the U.S., and then go even further and go into states and things like that. So first, we're talking about how human trafficking is around the world. Majority of the countries around the world have human trafficking. That it's crazy to me even think about that. Majority of the countries around the world have human trafficking cases every day. With that, it's estimated that internationally there are between 20 million and 40 million people in modern day slavery. I want you to take that in for a second. 20 to 40 million people, modern day slavery. It just blows my mind. You don't realize until you hear the numbers, or until you really, again, understand and learn about human trafficking, until you realize how big of a problem it is, how much of a global issue it is. And not only that it happens a lot, but another factor that plays in to the problem with human trafficking and what makes it so hard is that so many times we see cases that start in one country and lead to multiple other places, and are going from one country to another, and are constantly moving, and are going over the seas and everything. And so it's really hard for one law enforcement to be able to follow one case. But I think that is another thing that plays a huge factor in the problem with human trafficking is how much it moves around and how our resources are kind of limited to that. But I think we've also done a really great job as evolving and trying to work with this, and by having a human trafficking task force now with the police department and more organizations working with human trafficking, I think it's really going to start helping. And I think more people learning about human trafficking like you guys, and learning from this podcast and any research you guys do on your own, and then just sharing it with other people, that's what's going to help human trafficking in our world. So now we're going to go into human trafficking in the United States. So I was actually able to find a really cool map of the United States. It was according to the national hotline, the National Human Trafficking Hotline. It is a map from 2019, so it's a bit dated, but it was the most recent one I could find. And it has a map of the U.S., and it has all of the states and color-coded with according to how many cases they have each day. And it looks really cool. I mean, it's very eye-opening. Alone in the U.S., we have 6 states that have 400 plus cases of human trafficking. 6 states alone, 400 plus. Again, I just need you guys to take that in. Like, that is insane. That's 6 states. Granted, yes, we have 50 states, but that's 6 of them. And that's not even counting the ones that are right behind them. It's a big problem. And I hope one day it gets better. Here is another statistic that I found with human trafficking in the U.S. that, again, it just only magnifies how big of a problem human trafficking is. Each year, an estimated 14,500 to 17,500 foreign nationals are trafficked into the United States. That's a lot. That's a lot of people. And again, that plays back to how people are taken from their hometown or their home countries and are brought to the U.S. And that's why it's so hard for one law enforcement to be able to solve a case, because it moves around so much and it didn't start here, and so they can't have the beginning of the case. They kind of get put into the middle of the case, which only causes more problems. So it's just, it really is crazy how big of a problem this is, and no one realizes that until they listen to something like this, or they read something online. Like, for instance, there was an article that said that the number of U.S. citizens trafficked within the country each year is even higher, with an estimated 200,000 American children at risk for trafficking into the sex industry. We, as mammals, have this instinct to always protect the young. And it's just crazy to even hear that 200,000 American children are at risk for sex trafficking. That, it pains me. It makes me ill. It makes me upset. It makes me sad, but it also makes me, it pushes me to help with human trafficking and help spread awareness and try and to prevent and help some of these kids so they're not trafficked, they're not living in a terrible life, and they can have a good life and a good education and make a family of their own. That's why I think it's so amazing that everyone learn more about human trafficking. That way we can help end it. I don't think it's going to be ended anytime soon, but baby steps. Baby steps help. So now, going from the United States, look from it, we're going to go into Ohio and break it down just a little bit more. So actually, Ohio is 4th in the nation for reported human trafficking cases. That's crazy for me. From being from Ohio, I did not realize how many human trafficking cases there was in Ohio. Ohio had 450 documented cases of human trafficking in 2019. And the Ohio Task Force states 3,000 Ohio children are at risk, and 1,000 of these will likely end up in the sex trades. Here we go again with our kids. Like, that's just crazy to me. I cannot believe that. It's very upsetting, but it's also very eye-opening. And it's the point of this whole episode is to realize how big of a problem human trafficking is and how it affects everyone. It affects us globally. It affects us in our own country. It affects us in our hometown, our home state. I also found this poster that says, "Why Ohio?" And it gives a couple reasons why they think that Ohio has higher human trafficking cases. So we have an interstate highway system. It has the most truck stops in the nation. Within a day's drive to major cities, there are many strip clubs, high rate of unemployment, rising immigrant population, and high rates of poverty across the state. Those are just some of the factors that they think play into why Ohio has such a huge statistic for human trafficking. And I think that's crazy, but I also think that it gives us a start. It gives us something that we can look into and something that we can see if that'll help if we fix some of these things, like our high rate of unemployment. If we can fix that, then maybe we can lower the amount of human trafficking in Ohio, which is going to help us tremendously. And I think if everyone takes more time to look into this and to understand it, then we're gonna be great, and we're gonna, like I said, be spreading the awareness of human trafficking, and we're going to be helping our community and the world. So yeah, that was a lot. It was a lot of numbers and a lot of statistics that I had for you guys. But yeah, so thank you guys for joining me again for my 3rd episode of this podcast. And I can't wait to see you guys for my 4th one. Thanks, guys. Bye.